trailblazer. And this has been a very slow pursuit tonight through a neighborhood. 20 to 25 miles an hour this driver is going.
And even less as we look right now. Sky 9 overhead with Stu Mundell keeping an eye on things. Stu, there are many high-speed pursuits in Southern California. This is not one of them.
No, this is definitely a very slow speed pursuit, and I thought he was just going to jump out. That's what the officers were actually thinking of themselves down there. You can see that's El Monte PD chasing this guy. We are in South El Monte right now. This is Elliott. You can see a very residential neighborhood down here, and like you said earlier on, very slow speeds. Even in the beginning when he had all 4 tires, and now he only has 2. Both the both the passenger side tires are flat, front and rear, and this guy has been out there right there. You see that right there? That is a spike strip. They tried to get another one just now, El Monte PD, and again he's continuing on Elliott, staying on these small residential roads. Now even earlier on when they tried to pull him over originally, they said it was a code violation. That could have been anything. It could have been maybe a headlight out, not using a blinker, something along those lines. That vehicle did not stop and the pursuit was on. Now he worked his way around the El Monte area, working his time, and officers actually, we understand that the suspect might have actually been videotaping this pursuit at one time with his phone. Unclear about that. But again, now we're on a major out here. I'll get you the street here in just a second. And we are still in the South El Monte area.
And Stu, obviously a very highly residential area. Have you seen residents coming out of their homes or anyone yielding to this driver and this pursuit as well?
Oh, most definitely. We've seen a lot of people coming out of their homes, and he's been making big blocks out here. So basically, he's been going around the same areas. People at bus stops have been waving him on, and officers are concerned about that, especially when he starts getting into those small residential neighborhoods. We saw some ones starting to come off, and I believe we're on Fountain View, northbound on Fountain View. And you can see those tires, and that rear tire really, really spinning hard. So possibly that's the drive wheel. That might be what's pushing that vehicle, and without that tire getting any traction, this vehicle is just going to get going slower and slower and slower.
We've been watching, Stu, as this driver does make these big circles block to block, and that's perhaps the reason with the police helicopters, the authorities overhead, you as well in Sky 9, that people would come out. Also, statistically, we know that about half the time in pursuits, drivers return to the area they know best, but certainly looks as though this driver is running out of just about everything.
I can tell you the officers down there probably running out of patience with this gentleman for sure, this wanted suspect for failing to yield. Again, originally the want was something with the vehicle, some sort of code violation. And, again, all he had to do was pull over. Who knows what reasons this guy has from continuing to run. We are on Mountain View. We're approaching Valley. We're going to be turning right now. Eastbound Valley, and again, still trying to get away, or still trying to keep officers at bay. Most of the other people out here, the other civilians in the area, hear the lights and sirens coming. We've been watching them pull over, getting out of the way. The only person not getting out of the way is this suspect this evening, as we're working our way now northbound, and it looks like we're going to be taking another turn here onto Garvey. And again, you can see just making big circles out here. You can see some kids out here in a parking lot running, or one of them you could see earlier on with a cell phone trying to get some video. That guy right there, and there he goes. You just missed his shot. But again, this guy just continuing to keep officers at bay. He's got 4 flat tires now. It's an older Trailblazer. He's been holding his hand outside the window a couple of times this afternoon or this evening, and using his cell phone, showing the cell phone to officers. That was what made them believe that possibly he was trying to videotape them. So, officers got all 4 tires flat now. So the idea of using the spike strips is pretty much used up right now. So we're going to see if he just continues on with his 4 flat tires. We saw that vehicle having trouble getting traction. Maybe if that tire comes off and it's just metal on the road, it'll be a little easier. But no doubt this car is going to be hard to maneuver. And if this guy decides to go any faster, then it's going to become very, very very dangerous. 6 units from El Monte PD still chasing this guy. 1 helicopter overhead. That's their own helicopter, El Monte PD's helicopter. And again, you can see the slow speed pursuit continues out here in South El Monte.
And Stu, you were talking about the bad shape that the car is in right now. 4 flat tires, obviously. We also watched the car. It had some sparks really underneath as well. That's right?
Well, that's right. You know, we don't know if those were the sparks from that wheel actually contacting the pavement, or perhaps the tires, you know, they actually have steel belts in them. That's the term, steel belted radio. That might have been some of that steel rubbing against the roadway, creating those sparks. The sparks did stop. What I'm trying to show you right there is where we saw those sparks earlier on, that rear wheel there. But right now, there is no tire on that whatsoever. It is just that aluminum touching the concrete or the pavement right now. And again, you can see them just following this guy. We're probably going to make a complete circle, get back on the driver's side of this vehicle, and we'll take a look and see how those other 2 tires are doing. But again, this vehicle has 4 flat tires, 2 of them totally gone that we know of. The other 2 might still be holding on just by threads probably. And El Monte PD still chasing this guy. Speeds, you know, the fastest we've heard him go, 25 miles an hour.
Don't know if the driver also perhaps is driving DUI. Don't know if this might be a 3 strikes offender who isn't interested in going away for a real long time. We've only been able to see from Stu Mendel's vantage point in Sky 9 1 occupant inside the vehicle, and that is the driver. Don't know if there are others. There might be others as well. All of this in South El Monte, the El Monte area, so that's about 12, 15 miles east of downtown Los Angeles. This portion of the chase here this evening, Garvey Avenue, is south of the 10 freeway and just a little bit west of the 605.
And obviously this chase has been only on residential streets and not on the freeway. And Stu, you were talking about the 4 flat tires on this Chevy Blazer that this driver is experiencing right now. Obviously, perhaps the reason why you know, he hasn't gone onto the freeway or anything like that this evening. But do you know at what point they started these spike strips on this driver?
Well, they started the spike strips earlier on. When we first arrived out here, which was probably, I'm looking at the clock right now, almost about 30 minutes ago, they just took out one of the front tires. Just want to be clear right now, we're a southbound Peck, South El Monte area, and it looks like he's finally starting to come to a stop here. Not sure if the vehicle's stopping or if it's him, but it does seem like he did come to a stop here. We are southbound Peck, and we're directly in the middle, on Peck and Elliott, and that vehicle coming to a complete stop there. Just getting a little bit of a wide shot to give you an idea that he's in the middle of an intersection right there. But again, this guy just coming to a stop now. Unclear if it was him that made that decision or the vehicle. He does have his hands out. Does seem like he is going to
There go the
do
keys.
as officers are saying. He just tossed the keys, right? Exactly. And the officers are all got their guns out. They're waiting for this person, this suspect, to probably start following their commands. They're going to tell him to get out of the car. But again, it seems like this is coming to an end now. We're on Peck and Elliott. Proper street is Peck, and across of Elliott, you can see some other vehicles trying to sneak out of the way, and crowds. The officers are talking, the helicopter's telling them too, the officers on the ground, that they've got a large amount of people making their way to this intersection now, as this suspect just holding his hands out the window, waiting for instructions. It looks like they're telling him to open the door from the outside, which is a common move that officers do, so the suspect doesn't have the opportunity to put his hands back inside the vehicle. The officers want to see those hands the entire time. It looks like he's going to try to open the door right now. He's got both his hands out the doors. El Monte PD out here in force, trying to bring this to an end in a peaceful manner. Again, though, this pursuit going for about 40 minutes. All 4 tires on this Chevy Trailblazer are flat, and it seems like possibly the vehicle gave out before that suspect did. He's making his way out of the vehicle very slowly. We are in South El Monte. El Monte PD got their guns out and are telling him what to do, and they're probably going to take him into custody here as soon as he gets down on his knees. And again, though, you did mention, we're pretty sure there's just the driver inside that vehicle, but those tinted windows, officers are going to make doubly sure as soon as this guy gets down, you're going to see some officers approach that vehicle, make sure that vehicle is clear before they call this a code 4. Unclear what they're telling this guy to do right now. We can't hear him from up here, but obviously telling him to put his hands up, show that he has no weapons on him or anything like that, pull up his shirt there, make sure there's nothing in his waistband, and continue to do the officer hokey pokey there. Put his hands on his head, stand and walk, take a couple steps back, and sure enough, they're probably going to tell him. Well, maybe they're going to tell him just to walk back there, and they're going to take him into custody. But again, this does seem like it's coming to an end out here in South El Monte tonight.
But as you point out so correctly, Stu, this is not a time when these officers can let their guard down because they don't know for certain what's still inside that vehicle. And even though it looks as though everything's going textbook right now, this for them often is the most tense part of the entire ordeal.
Oh, most definitely. And this guy is going into custody. They're putting the cuffs on him now. Again, there they go. They're going to check that vehicle. But you're so right, Ken. This was a slow-speed pursuit, but still, I'm sure adrenaline was high. And the officers, they are people. They are human beings. And this guy not complying, not doing as he's told, I'm sure they are upset. They have to deal with their emotions. So obviously, this was slow speed. There wasn't a lot of high tension going on this evening, but they are still looking at that vehicle very closely this evening. But that suspect now in custody here at Peck Road and Elliott in the South El Monte area.
Okay, Stu Mandel over the scene of the end of a police pursuit that went for about 40 minutes in El Monte tonight. Again, we don't know why this gentleman kept on running. It really makes you wonder why he did continue. We know for a fact that it was a small code violation that he was originally wanted for, why he was being pursued by police. But at this point, we don't know exactly why he kept on going.
We will continue to monitor the situation. Stu Mandel, live overhead in Sky 9, will bring us the latest. And when we come back, why